Okay, what's going on, everyone? Swinging Bull back again with another earnings stream. And today, hopefully, be a little more exciting than yesterday. But today we got Zoom and Intuit, and I believe they're both. Well, let me see here. Zoom reports at 4:05, so about 5 more minutes for that. Intuit is supposed to report right at 4, so we'll see if we get their data any second. Okay, it looks like we are getting a reaction on Intuit already. Got trading view pulled up right now. So Intuit got their data first, and Zoom should follow in about 5 more minutes. So let me see. Intuit looks like it's kind of frozen. Okay, it's still going down a little bit. Oh wow, this thing's selling off quite a bit. It's down 6%. It's almost a $700 stock. Intuit closed the regular session at $697.95. Basically flat on the day, but it's now down almost 40 bucks a share with the reaction to this earnings data. So let me check my other screen, see if I got EPS and revenue, and I'll be more than happy to share that with everybody. Let's take a look. Okay, I got it. I'll keep the price of Intuit on the right. So their forecast EPS was 2.66. They just reported 2.75. So they did beat EPS. Revenue was expected at 3.75 billion, and they reported 3.8 billion. So double beat just by a little bit. EPS beat by 3%, revenue beat by 2%. Year over year, EPS up 38%, revenue up 20%. Quarter over quarter looks terrible though. EPS was down 76% quarter over quarter, and revenue was down 51% quarter over quarter. So kind of some bad data there on the short term looking view. Year over year looks fine. This quarter over quarter is kind of hurting them right now. Not what investors wanted to see. So let's give it a minute for the price to kind of settle down. It's now down almost $42 a share, $43 a share. So hasn't found a bottom yet. Still got selling coming in. I'm going to go over to Webull just for a second so I can see the level 2 order book here. Okay, let's take a look. All right, so let's just give it a second and see if it forms a bottom. It did come all the way down to 651.11, all the way from almost $700. So that's quite the sell. Let me post the EPS and revenue on the bottom of my screen. And then we should be getting Zoom's earnings any moment now. Let me get this EPS and revenue for Intuit posted for everybody. There we go. Okay, so there's the data for the EPS and revenue. And there was some massive put buying before close, as far as we can tell. Some block orders on the, or some put sweep orders coming in on the data before close. I want to look at, actually, let me post this instead. Also, I'll try and find some commentary from the CEO and CFO and see what they got to say. Let me post this instead. That looks a little bit more cleaner. All right, so we got EPS revenue for Intuit. They did double beat, but their quarter over quarter numbers were not good at all. The implied move for Intuit was about 5%. It's like around $34 a share, around there. It's sitting around $39 a share red right now in after hours, so it's already hit its expected move, at least what was being priced in. Intuit made another after hours low at 648.80. It does look like there's a little bit of buying going on right now, so we'll see if the bottom's in. I'm going to put a fib on this real quick. There we go. So 661.50 around there. That's around 25% retrace. So for the bulls, definitely want to see that level get reclaimed. Price is kind of dealing with it right now. You can see it lines up pretty good with the fib here. So that's probably going to be the level it needs to break for it to, have a chance at retracing back up 661.50. Resistance too. I mean, you could just probably follow the fib levels. I'd say maybe around 675, be about 50%. That's another level I'd probably look at. Support level on Intuit and after hours. It's going to be that after hours low, 648.80. Look at Zoom. Zoom's getting a positive reaction here. It is 4:05 p.m. Eastern, so that's when they were supposed to release the data. Let me see what I got on them. Might take a few minutes for the information to populate on my other screen here. Okay, no, I got Zoom's info already right here. So let's take a look and see what happened with them. They're getting a positive reaction so far, so good for the Zoom bulls. Forecast EPS was $1.38. They just reported $1.53. So they beat that. Revenue forecast was 1.20. They just reported 1.21 billion. So that's slight beat on that. EPS and revenue for year over year are green. EPS and revenue quarter over quarter is green. So far it looks positive. It's taking a little breather right now. Let me go 1 minute chart on this. Okay, so I had a nice little spike to 77.30. Closed the regular session a little over 73. It did pull back just a little bit, but it looks like the buyers are back in the picture here. We'll see. Let me wait for the price to settle a little bit. Okay. Now back to Intuit just for a second. It's sitting down here at 660, or I'm sorry, 664 a share, 664 and some change. So let me just look at the bigger time frames here, so I can get rid of this fib for now. Interesting thing, Intuit did have a gap to fill on the daily chart, which would have brought it all the way down to 670. So that gap has been filled. That unresolved price action has been resolved now. And the bottom of that gap, or at least the bottom of the candle from when that gap happened, puts it right around 660. So that's kind of where the price is kind of hanging out right now. And after hours, I have to go back intraday to look at the intraday candles here. But my support's going to be the bottom of that gap around 660. So it's trading at 663.29. We just saw in the bigger time frame that a good level of interest to keep your eye on to the downside would be right around 660. So it's trading about $5 above that right now. So that's what I would have my eye on. Not really going to look at any levels on the top side because, of course, it's getting a negative reaction. It's down $34 a share right now. So let's just give it a minute and see if that bottom ends up it looks like the bottom could be in. It's starting to curl up a little bit. I'll put this fib back on there. Okay. So yeah, I mean, this 25% retrace, that's kind of where that bottom of that gap was. So let's see if it can kind of hold there and start reclaiming some of these levels, and then maybe it has a chance at retracing back up. But back over to Zoom, they had an initial positive reaction. Then they retraced 100% and sold off down to 70.50. And now they're back up here by baseline where they closed the regular session at. So let's see what happens with Zoom. Still kind of indecision candles being printed right now. There is some selling coming in, so we'll give that a minute to settle. And as far as Zoom goes, going into the earnings, Nikki, can you hear? Okay, give me 1 second here. I'm about to just make this stream YouTube only. Okay, hopefully y'all can hear me. I guess there was issues with the Discord again, so go figure. Nikki, I'm going to talk to the higher ups. I'm probably just going to do YouTube only moving forward on these streams. Too much of a hassle just to keep messing around with this stuff on Discord. So, anyways, back to Zoom. Their forecast their trailing 12-month PE was 21.96, almost 22 going into the earnings. EPS 3.3. They don't pay any dividend. Free float 259 million. Okay, let's look at their income statement. Okay, so Zoom is a profitable company. Year over year numbers going into the earnings look pretty good. They usually make between 200 million and 370 million positive net income per quarter on the annual basis. They had a bad year in 2023, but other than that, they usually do like almost $1 billion a year in positive net income. So not bad, pretty good. Debt to asset only 18%. That's fantastic. All right, let's go back to the chart. So it's starting to stabilize a little bit. Definitely indecision. Positive reaction first, then retraced, and then negative reaction, and then came back to baseline. Now it's green again. So just a lot of ping pong action going on with Zoom right now. Let's see if the buyers end up taking this and maybe it catches a bid or something. But let me go back over to my other screen and see if I can get some commentary from the CEO or the CFO. Let's take a look. Okay, this is from AlphaSense. Here's some commentary about Zoom's earnings. This is from the CEO. AI is transforming the way we work together, and Zoom is at the forefront, driving innovation that helps people get more done, reduce costs, and deliver better experiences for customers and employees alike. That was said by Eric Yuan. That's the Zoom's founder and CEO. We delivered an across-the-board strong Q2, marked by achieving our highest year-over-year revenue growth in 11 quarters and expanding GAAP operating margin year-over-year by 9 percentage points. With our robust performance, we were happy to raise our full-year outlook for revenue. So they raised revenue guidance for the remainder of the year. So that's good. That's positive. Increasing guidance is always a good thing. And they also increased the guidance for operating income and free cash flow. So now they're expecting to be in the range of 1.7 billion to 1.74 billion to 1.78 billion is their new guidance for the revenue. Or I'm sorry, that's the guidance for the free cash flow. So good stuff on Zoom. I mean, the data looks positive. Again, they had a double beat. Their year-over-year numbers were green. Their quarter-over-quarter numbers were green, and they increased guidance. So Zoom looks like it might end up being a positive reaction. It's only been what, about, I don't know, 10 minutes since they released the data. There was a little indecision at first, a couple back and forth with these candles, but it's holding up now. It's up almost 4%. Okay, let's go to Intuit. I want to see if there's any commentary about Intuit because I want to know what the CEO and CFO said. Then I'll show everyone how to get to the earnings web calls with the upper management. And then we'll go from there. Okay. Yep. So raises fiscal year 2020. Still talking about Zoom here. Raises fiscal year 2025 revenue view to 4.8 billion. It's actually 4.83 billion to 4.84 billion. That was raised from 4.81 billion. And the estimate was 4.81 billion. So they beat the estimate on guidance and they raised it. So good for Zoom. I know they took a pretty big hit after they, back when we all got locked in our houses for COVID, they were up here in the 500s, almost 600. And they just kind of fell off a cliff after everyone went back to work and stuff. But they're getting a positive reaction here. So they're still making revenue, or they're still making positive net income. They were a profitable company going into the earnings, and they're still profitable. They raised out guidance. They beat forecasts. Year over year numbers were great. Quarter over quarter numbers were great. Zoom looks good. I'm going to say congrats to the Zoom bulls. I don't want to speak too soon because there could be a secondary move when they do their earnings call, but the data looks nice and positive. So that's a green check mark for the Zoom bulls on that one, it looks like. Let me go back to Intuit. It came back down to test that after hours low, and it looks like it kind of double bottom bounced a little bit. So let's see if this is going to be the bottom or not. 648.80 is the after hours low right now. Came down and almost retested that. Came down to 650, low 650s. So kind of a lopsided double bottom, if you will, but working on a third green candle print right now. Okay, let me, and also we already talked about the implied move for Intuit. It was about 5%. It's like almost $35 a share was the implied move. Either up or down, and of course it's down right now. So, all right, Intuit. Okay, I already posted Intuit's data. Let me go back to Zoom just for a second because Zoom looks like the winner here. Okay. We already talked about the commentary from the CEO. Let's see how we can get to the earnings web call for Zoom, because I know a lot of people probably want to see that. So I'm just going to go straight to their investor relations page and get that link. Okay, let's take a look. All right, let me just pull this over here. I'll keep Zoom on the left. So let me just scroll down a little bit, and here we go right here, upcoming events. So it's right here, nice and short link here. Shouldn't be hard to type this in. I'll post the link, give everyone a time to screenshot it. And this is if you want to join Zoom's earnings web call with the upper management, CEO, CFO, all that stuff. So it starts at 5 p.m. Eastern. And when you get to that, after you get to that link, you just scroll down to see upcoming events, and right here that it says click here for Zoom webinar. They better be doing the webinar on Zoom. Wouldn't that be funny if they weren't doing it on Zoom? That would be hilarious. So Zoom's earning webcast will be on Zoom, and it starts at 5 p.m. Eastern. All right. And they're going to be going over 2026 info and all kinds of stuff. So, all right. So that's how you get to the Zoom earnings web call. Let me find out. Let's see when Intuit's going to do their web call. Give me 1 second, and I'll let everyone know that information. Also, just real quick, Intuit. We didn't really go over their income statement and balance sheet yet. So going into the earnings, their trailing 12-month PE ratio was 56. Seems a bit high, but we just have to cross-check that with their competitors, and maybe their industry, usually has high PE ratio. So we just have to cross-check that and see where they fall in the range in their sector industry. EPS 12.29. Of course, a super big EPS because it's so $600, $700 stock. They do pay a small dividend, 0.6%. Free float 271 million. Income statement, year over year numbers were good coming into the earnings. Of course, they're taking a bit of a hit now. Still down $32 a share in after hours here, but they are a profitable company. Debt to asset 42%. Going into the earnings, they had $4 billion in cash and equivalents. Zoom, going into the earnings, had $7.7 billion in cash and equivalents. So both companies got a ton of cash. I mean, we just took a quick peek at Intuit's a little bit of their financials, and I mean, they're not a bad company. There's a reason they're trading up here. It's almost $700 when they close the regular session. There's a reason. It's that they are a solid company. So if I was an Intuit investor, I'd probably be looking at this as a little bit of a discount. If you're trying to accumulate more shares, you just got a discount on this one. You can already see it's curling up, and the buyers are starting to scoop up the discount and buy the dip on this thing. MACD's getting a bullish signal. RSI's right back up almost to 50. That's a 1 minute chart, but still, this could be a buy the dip scenario on Intuit. We already know that from the bigger time frame, that gap that they had to fill over here. This is the gap from May, this past May, about 3 months ago. And the bottom of that gap was right around 660. The bottom of the candle that precipitated that gap right here. It's about 660, and sure enough, that's definitely holding that level. Let me zoom in a little bit more. So keep your eye on it. If it starts printing some higher lows, that's going to be a good sign that this thing's going to recover just fine. But after looking at the fundamentals and financials just from a bird's eye view, I could see this being the buy the dip scenario, and current investors probably looking at this as a little bit of a discount. Maybe they can average down, or whatever their average is, they can pick up some cheap shares compared to what it was trading at when it closed the regular session. It's just like a $30 per share discount going on right now on Intuit. Look at Zoom still going. Zoom is zooming. Look at that. This is a 15-minute candle. Those are nice and healthy 15-minute candles there. Look at the bodies on those. All right, so we got the link for the Zoom investors web call. Let me get the link for the Intuit investors web call. Give me 1 second and I'll get that link. Can't type today. Hold on. There we go. Okay, let's take a look, and then I'll give everyone an update on some of the positions I have in my Fidelity account that I've been sharing with everyone on these earnings streams at the end of these streams. Just kind of let everyone know how those positions are doing. But let me get this link for Intuit. Keep Intuit's price on the right here because it's trying to make these higher lows here. It's reclaiming some levels. It already reclaimed the 25%, which happened to line up with the bottom of that gap on the daily chart. The next level Intuit is dealing with is right around 668 a share. That's the 38% fib level. I'm having a tough time staying above there. So a little bit of selling coming in, but this is where we want to see a higher low maybe print. Pulls back a little bit. Let's see if we can get that. Maybe it almost came back to the low 660s. Again, that was the bottom of that gap that got filled. So if it can print a higher low right here, that would be ideal, and then my confidence would probably increase a little bit that is going to come back up. So just keep your eyes on it. We just want to ensure that the bottom's in, right? Back to Zoom, or I'm sorry, we got to get the link for the Intuit earnings web call. So you can see right here, it's at 1:30 p.m. Pacific time, so that would be what, 4:30 p.m. Eastern. So Intuit's earnings web call is going to start in about 7 minutes. Nice and short link here for that one as well. So I'll put that in the comments. There we go. Okay, everyone should have had enough time to screenshot that Zoom link. That'll get you into the web call. I'm going to post the Intuit link now. There we go. And once you get there, you can see right here, you just click the webcast button. All right. And they're going to report in about 5 more minutes. But yeah, with that said, looks like we got our reactions. Zoom's got a nice and positive reaction. Initial reaction was negative. That was interesting, but this is a 15-minute candle. We go 1 minute. Actually, initial reaction was positive. Then it went negative. Bit of indecision going on, and now it's kind of off to the races a little bit now, trending up. Price is above my EMA, so that's a nice signal there for uptrend. And as far as Intuit, now let me look at some bigger levels on Zoom. So after hours high is 78.53. So that would put the price right here, actually, right where it was trading sideways towards the end of June, going into July. It kind of consolidated there for a handful of weeks, and that's right where the price is at now. So that's obviously a level of interest from about a month or two ago. I'd say about 2 months ago is when it started trading sideways, all the way into the first week of July. That's literally where the price is contending with right now. So if it can get back above there, you can clearly see these next level is going to be around $80. So let's see if it can clear this level. It's right around 77, right around there. I'd be looking for a break of 80 next, and then of course this recent high of 85 would be the next level of interest there. That's where there was quite a bit of selling going on. That's where the downtrend started going into this earnings. That was in May. So some levels to keep in mind for Zoom. But yeah, with that said, let me go over some of these open positions that I've been sharing with everybody. Just kind of give everyone an update on how everything's been going, and just talk about some scenarios that might happen with these positions. But here, I'll move it over here. And so complete transparency, I always show everyone my Fidelity account. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit more. There we go. So anyways, I am seeing some drawdown on Bull. This trade expires tomorrow. And this is a cash secured put, so I wrote this contract and sold it to somebody. I only did one contract though. And of course, Bull, we can go to Bull. I'll put it over here on, let me go intraday on Zoom again, but I'll put it over here on the, actually, I'll just use TradingView. There we go. So Bull is below my short strike, okay? My short strike was $15. So there is a very good chance I'll probably get assigned shares of Bull, at the end of the day tomorrow. So if that happens, I'm not worried about it at all. I will get assigned shares at $15, but don't forget, I collected $41 a contract, so 15 minus 0.41. So technically, my cost basis is only going to be $14.59, right? So that's good, and so what I'm going to do if I get assigned shares, I'm just gonna sell the $15 covered calls. So I'll start selling those immediately. Now Bull, they do have earnings on August 28th, a week from today. Okay, so what I think I'm gonna do, because I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be getting shares of this assigned to me tomorrow, I'll probably go to, I don't know, I might do biweekly or monthly. Biweekly, you can see these $15 covered calls. They're selling for $80. I mean, the last sale was $82. So that would be a decent trade there, and it would also act as a little bit of a downside hedge in case Bull does have a negative reaction for earnings. But if I write that contract, it's only 2 weeks, then my cost basis going into it was 14.59, and if I saw this $15 covered call, I'll just go with the last price here, 0.82. That's going to reduce my cost basis by 0.82 per share. So 14.59 minus 0.82. So if I get assigned tomorrow, and then I'll sell some covered calls, I can literally, I would have just between the cash secured put premium and the covered call premium, in essence, I would have reduced my cost basis from a $15 assignment all the way down to 13.77 without needing any extra capital. Without, I'm still sitting with the same allocation I had when I was selling the cash secured put. So you don't need any extra money to be able to reduce your cost basis in this way. So that's what I really like about writing contracts, is collecting the premium and being able to use that premium to reduce our cost basis. So probably going to end up doing something like that, but we'll see what happens tomorrow. Who knows? Bull could maybe have a big bullish day tomorrow and be back over 15. We just don't know. No one knows the future. But I am prepared where if I get assigned shares, I'll just jump right over to the covered call side and it'll be just fine. I'll wheel my way out of it, and then I'll sell covered calls until my shares get called away. And then once my shares get called away, it'll be overall a net profitable trade, and then I'll just move on to the next one. Okay. So that's what's going on with Bull. This trade expires tomorrow, so I'll know exactly what I'm doing tomorrow. I mean, I kind of already know exactly what I'm going to do. It just depends on what scenario happens, and either Bull's above 15 or below 15, and that decides what I'm going to end up doing with it. But this next trade down is that Ford trade. I do have 200 shares of Ford because I wanted to own their shares for their ex-div date, which just passed on August 11th. So if you own shares on August 11th, you'll be getting that dividend. The dividend payout is September 2nd, which is a Tuesday. That's because September 1st on Monday is a holiday. So we'll get that Ford dividend in less than 2 weeks. I'll collect that. And in the meantime, I'm pulling in extra income by writing covered call contracts. So my current expiration date on my current covered call here, I have 2 of them open, is August 29th. So next Friday. So basically 1 more week, and I'll know what's up with this. If Ford ends up being above 1150, my shares will get called away, and I'm totally okay with that. It'll be a nice and profitable trade, and I get the dividend. And before I bought the shares, I was doing cash secured puts on it, and I did a few rounds of cash secured puts before I ended up forcibly buying shares. I kind of assigned myself because I wanted to get that dividend. So I basically just converted the cash secured put. I basically put those on hold, and I just converted it to like a buy plus write strategy, which is buying shares and selling a covered call against those shares. It's called a buy plus write. So that's still with Ford, and it's just easy money on that one. This Mara trade, I have been trading Mara lately. Been making some good money over it on it. I've actually been trading Mara for a few years now, but got this trade open right now. 2 cash secured puts at the $15 strike. I got $41 each for them, and you can see here I got a little bit of green on the table right now, but I want to get as much of this $82 credit as I can. So still got some more juice to squeeze out of this thing. But of course, Mara is above my short strike, so that's a good thing. You see Mara's trading at $15.48. So as long as Mara stays above 15, I'll pocket this $82.65, and then I'll move on to the next trade. This one also expires next Friday, so I don't got to wait long at all for any of these trades. So it's not like I'm really married to them, like a 45-day expiration or something like that. And of course, if we get the right moves with the underlying, we can take early profit and all that fun stuff. But yeah, just a quick recap about that. I go a lot deeper into these things in the Discord. So if you want to know more about writing contracts, and maybe you've been curious about becoming an option seller, and that means selling when you open the trade. Maybe you're sick of the rat race of trying to day trade every day, and it's not for everyone, and it can get pretty stressful trying to day trade. So if you're kind of sick of that and you're looking for something a little more consistent and safer and stable with less emotion, less stress, you're going to want to come see me. I'll show you how to do it. I'll show you how to write contracts. I've been doing it for years, and it's my #1 most consistent and profitable strategy as far as total profit I've made over the years. But yeah, that's basically what I specialize in. Also in the Discord, it's called PB Alerts is the name. But we do have another coach. His name is Mad Maverick on the Discord, and he specializes in swing trading. stock mainly. He does trade options and he's really good at it, but mainly he's a swing trader for stock. So maybe you don't like options and you don't want to mess with it, and all you do is trade stock and swing stock, maybe even day trade stock, I guess. But you're going to want to go see Mad Maverick. He's the other coach, and he'll get you set up. But yeah, other than that, my name's the Swinging Bull. I hope everyone enjoyed the stream. Again, I do these streams every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And so this will be the last one for this week. Of course, tomorrow's Friday. So I hope everyone enjoys their weekend after tomorrow. Try and recharge, reset, recharge your batteries, and we'll be back at it on Monday to make some more money. But yeah, hope everyone enjoyed. Hope everyone has a great night, and I'll see everyone in the very next stream. Cheers.